Hey guys, welcome back to my corner. So, before I closed out the day, there's a video I've been wanting to do for a couple weeks, but before I could do it, I needed to play out one more experiment on a monster that took me some time to build and get put together. I finished that monster today, so we're finally doing the video. This video is on farmers. So, if you are new to the game and you don't know what a farmer is a monster that can solo a Hell Stage dungeon by himself. Now, the purpose of the farmer is you bring along three trash monsters with you, and you use those monsters to level them up and evolve them so you can use them as trash to make more 5 and 6-star monsters. So, there's a few farmers in the game that are really easy to get and really useful, and I wanted to cover them and show you kind of how they work. So, let's get started. I'll show you a few runs. So, the first one I want to talk about is Dagora, the Water Warbear. So I've touched on Dagora before. Dagora is a monster that only has one actual damaging attack, and that's his first skill. His first skill reduces the target's attack bar. It has a 85% chance of triggering when he's fully skilled, and the damage scales partially on his attack power and partially on his max HP. His second skill heals him and boosts his defense for 2 turns, and his third skill uh, revives him with 30% of his HP when he dies, and I believe at max skill it's like a 5-turn cooldown. The number of reusable in turns thing here is kind of misleading. But so that's what he does. He's almost impossible to kill. Now he's kind of a slow farmer, but he can farm. So where can he farm? He can actually farm. The best place for him is Feynman level 1. Now, when you're talking about farming, before I jump in, I gotta explain this. When you're talking about farming, you have 3 milestones. All right, your first milestone is Kabir Ruins. Now, the reason I say Kabir is because Kabir is a place that has low XP yield, but you can, with several monsters that are easy to obtain, you can farm this stage very, very quickly. I'm talking like 20 to 30 seconds quick. All right, so Kabir Ruins is a great place to farm when you have an XP boost running and you have a surplus of crystals so that you can burn crystals on energy refills. Um, you can actually get Kabir going. If you get it down to 20 seconds, you can make almost 2 million XP an hour. So this is a great place to farm when you have an XP boost running, when you have lots of pink crystals. Now, if you don't have pink crystals or you don't have an XP boost running, your two goals should either be Raphagus 4 here or Fame and Volcano. Fame and Volcano should be your ultimate goal. The reason being is Fame and Volcano has one of the highest XP rates, one of the highest um, blue mana crystal drop rates, and here's the fun part: it has one of the highest. It has the highest energy drop rate in the game. So when you're farming Fame, you're going to ultimately get more runs out of Fame, just because it's going to drop more energy than any other stage will. So this is your first major milestone. So if you have an XP boost running and have lots of crystals, Kabir is where you want to farm. If you don't have a boost running, or if you have a boost and don't have a lot of crystals, Feynman or Raphagus should be your goals, with Feynman being the ultimate goal. So let me show you what Dagora can do here. So we're going to go Feynman. Now my Dagora is kind of slow, so this is going to be a slow run, but he's almost impossible to kill. All right, now Dagora is not a fast farmer. He is not energy efficient in the least, but he is reliable and he's very easy to farm. You get him from Mount Rygon. He also drops, from scrolls, from social summons, from all of that. So he's very easy to get a hold of, very easy to skill up, and very easy to rune. So in the absence of anything else, he is worth getting as your first farmer. At least your first Feynman farmer. How would you rune him? Well, I've got mine runed all the way around with energy runes. HP percent on 2, 4, and 6. It's been a long time since I've used him. Realistically, there are many other rune combinations for him that would probably work better. Now you could do a triple set of revenge on him, so he has a 45% counterattack rate, and do HP, HP, HP. You could do energy all the way around, and you could do speed HP, HP, or HP crit HP. You could do swift and revenge, or swift and energy, and you could do again, you can do speed HP, HP, HP all around, or you can do HP, crit, HP. Any one of those builds will work for him fairly reliably as long as the runes are good and have decent substats. Um, but you get those in place. Now, my biggest downfall is mine actually needed more HP to run than most other people's Dagoras because mine is slow. Because at the time of building him, I did not have good speed runes. So if I could get him even another 40 or 50 speed, he would probably do this a lot more efficiently. And I have the runes to do that. I just haven't because I have much better farmers now. I just wanted to bring him in and show you because he is one of the first ones that you're going to be able to farm up and come across and be able to use reliably. Now he can even farm Vrophagus 4 as a 5-star as long as you've got good runes on him. So you could theoretically even not 6-star him. Now most people want to 6-star their farmer first. There are a couple different schools of thought on that. I won't get into those too much right now. But if you manage to drum up some really good runes for him, he can do some of this farming as a 5-star. So it looks like he's about got it wrapped out. And as you can see, he hasn't even dropped low enough for his passive to kick off because he's just healing too much with his second. So that was a 2-minute and 24-second run. For a farmer, it's not a great run. But, you know, if you do not have other options, he's great for that. Now, sell that here. Let's jump back. So the next farmer I want to talk about is one that you would use for Kabir. Actually, the next two I'm going to be talking about are ones that you would use for Kabir Ruins. These guys will not work in a lot of your later stages because they're just too squishy, don't do enough damage. But they work in Kabir and they do it quite quickly. The first one is Lukasha, the Fire Harpy. So she has no self-healing ability. I do not have her on Vampire Runes. I have her on Violent Blade, but she does enough damage that that doesn't matter. So I'm going to show you Kabir here. I like doing Kabir 5. All right, where's Lukasha? There she is. So now my Lukasha has this down. The longest run I've seen her do is 39 seconds, and the shortest I've seen her do is 16 seconds. So it kind of depends on whether her violent procs go off or not. But she clears the rooms very quickly, and this is what you need when you have lots of crystals and you have an XP boost running. This is how you want to farm, is with a character like this on this stage. I've got mine on Violent Blade. You could easily do Violent Revenge. You could even put her on Vampire Runes. In fact, if you put her on Vampire Runes, she could probably farm some other dungeons as well. I just like her on Violent and Blade for this, and I also use her in Necropolis, so it kind of helps out. So that was a 33-second run, which is actually a little slow for her, but still not bad. All right, and then we're going to talk about another Kabir farmer here. So let's talk about Sath, the Fire Grim Reaper. Now, Lukasha, let me jump back to Lukasha because I did forget to mention something about her. So she is a little harder to obtain than Dagora. She's not farmable. You can get her from a secret dungeon on Tuesdays, which is Fire Days. And once you get her, Kabir Ruins actually drops Wind Harpies, so you can farm her skill ups there. But she does need a ton of skill ups. She needs 16 skill ups, I think. So let's see, that's 7, 5, 12, 4. Yep, 16 skill ups. So that's a lot of harpies. So you can actually take her there without fully skilling her and still have her farm, and then she can farm her own skill ups. But you do have to come across her from a scroll or from a secret dungeon. Sath is kind of the same way. So you have to get him from a scroll or from a secret dungeon. He is the Fire Grim Reaper, so his techniques, he's very squishy, but he does a lot of damage, and his techniques actually lend to being a farmer. So first skill just does damage, but if he kills somebody, he immediately gets another turn. Second skill does less damage than the first, but it hits everyone, and it always lands as a crit if the enemy is lower than 30% HP. His third skill does the exact same damage as his first skill, but it hits everyone, deals a damage over time effect, and disturbs HP recovery for 3 turns. And his leader skill is an attack power boost, which actually I didn't mention. Lukasha's leader skill is also an attack power boost for fire monsters. Both are 30%. So they both have a fairly similar runtime. So we'll let this run. I've got him on Violent. I think Violent Revenge. Now, oh, sorry, lagging a bit, so the pixelated a bit there. But so you could put him, Violent Revenge, Fatal Blade, Rage Blade, Rage Revenge. You can even put him on Swift. You can even actually, he's a great candidate for Despair too, because he's got two AoE attacks. So he's great for Despair because then he's got two chances to stun everybody. As you can see, though, he's clearing this quite fast as well. 30 seconds. That's also a little slow for him. He's actually the one that set the record for 10-second clears. All right, so moving on, let's talk about another farmer here. So, was there anyone else I wanted to talk about before I move on to the next one? No. Okay, so the next farmer is the only 4-star on my list, and I've shown you guys in another video, and it's Lapis. Lapis is one that's kind of annoying because you get her for free just by doing the scenarios. Clearing, I think it's the second scenario for the first time, gives you her. She is one that most people don't hang on to. They feed her right away because, well, they think, well, sorry, they don't feed her right away. They keep her for a while and then feed her rather quickly because they don't think she's worth much for end game content. Now, I disagree, but it took me a lot of work to get her to where she's useful. So I've got her on Vampire Revenge. So, and I've got her attack all the way around. So her crit rate and crit damage suck, but her actual damage is pretty high, and she's actually got a decent amount of health too for a farmer, for an attack farmer. So she can farm Rophagus 4 for me, or Famine 1. So if you have her as a farmer, though, you have to put her on Vampire Runes. The fact is, unless you have like the most amazing Despair, or Rage, or Violent runes in the game, you're still not going to be able to get through the enemy's damage fast enough most of the time, at least not in my experience. So she moves through this at about 1 minute. So again, if you compare XP rates per hour, if you compare Famine with her running it at 1 minute, or Kabir Ruins with Lukasha running it at an average of 20 seconds, you get a little more than double XP from doing Kabir Ruins, but it is not energy efficient at all to do it that way. I burned through, just today alone, I burned through like 400 crystals because I had an XP boost running and I wanted to finish my last monster so that I could show you guys the results of my experiment tonight. So 42 seconds, that's actually a pretty good speed for her. All right. So she's a good one, but the problem with her, you got to have good Vampire Revenge runes on her, and you have to have her skilled up, which in most cases means Devilmons because Magic Knights seems like it's really difficult to get a hold of. So the last farmer that I wanted to cover, and this was my great experiment, is Garros. Now, Garros is one that I did not believe would make a good farmer. He's extremely squishy. He's very slow. But I heard somebody else do it, and I just had to try it. So I've spent the last few weeks trying to farm food for him because he is completely farmable. He drops from the Rophagus Ruins. He's a very low drop rate, but he does drop there, so you can farm him up completely. I saw someone else do a video with him, and I just had to try it. So let's go here. Sorry, had those texts coming in. Now, the reason being is the most difficult stage in the game, but has the most XP rewards, is all the way over here, Chiraka Remains. And this place is very difficult to farm, but through experimenting with some different rune builds, I was able to get him to do it. Now, he's not 100% clear, but he farms it in about a minute and a half, and he's about 80% successful. So let's see if we get lucky and we'll watch him run. He is possibly, not necessarily the fastest, but his runes kind of suck. So if I get him some better runes, he'll be able to do it a lot faster. But here, let me show you my buffs too. I didn't show you guys this. These are the buffs that he's under the effects of. So we've got fire crit rate, that's his leader skill, and then those are my PvP towers, which as you can see, the speed and HP ones are the only ones I've upgraded at all. So I've got him on Vampire Revenge. He is on speed, crit damage, attack. And the important thing here is his crit rate is only like 29%. Um, but his leader skill gives him another 23, so he's over 50% crit. Whenever he gets a revenge proc, if it crits, it gives him an additional 30% of his attack bar back. We'll cover his moves and I'll show you his runes when I'm done here. But I could not believe this when I saw the video and just had to try it. Now that I'm seeing it, this stage drops more XP than any other stage in the game. So this one, just like the Fame and Volcano, if you can get him up and you can get a guy that can farm this one is the most energy efficient XP gains, but it is extremely difficult. And because I'm only farming it at a minute and a half, Kabir Ruins is still going to net more if I have an XP boost running, and uh, and I have lots of crystals to spare. But if you don't have lots of crystals to spare or you don't have an XP boost, this is definitely the way to go about it. So as you can see, this time around he's having absolutely no problem, and this is pretty much standard for him. So he is just mowing through these guys. They got him almost down to dead a couple times, and then he immediately healed back to full health on attacks. So he doesn't need a lot of health, but what I do find is he needs a lot of speed and a lot of attack to make this work. Alright, so let me show you his runes before we close this out. So, well, first we'll talk his skills. First skill is Fire Smash. Just hits the enemy. If they crit, if it crits, it boosts his attack bar by 30%. That includes revenge procs. So if he gets a revenge proc, it crits, gives him 30% additional attack, gives him more turns. Second skill, attacks all enemies and breaks their defense for 90% chance of success when it's fully skilled. Third skill, now this one's kind of confusing. A lot of people don't understand it that well. So the way it works is it attacks all enemies, but you have to target an enemy to trigger it. So it stuns the enemy that you targets and then puts a continuous damage effect on all the other enemies. So it does hit everyone though. So what you were seeing back there is he was hitting with Hellfire, which breaks their defense, and then he was hitting with Meteor, which stunned the biggest threat in many cases, like the boss, and then dealt lots of damage because they all had defense breaks on them, which healed him back to full, even though he was almost dead. So for runes, I do believe I have a couple 6-stars on here, but there's speed. Okay, there's a 6-star. There's crit damage. It's not even maxed yet. There's another 6-star. So he's got 2 6-star runes. The rest are 5s. And as you can see, the substats on them are not amazing. Now, if I wanted to improve him, of course, I would give him 6-star runes for upgrades. And then I would also give him more speed. Because right now he's at 157 speed plus my tower, my speed tower. Realistically, if you could get him over 200 speed, he would clear this a lot easier, even if he had slightly lower attack for it. But right now, from where I'm sitting, I think Garros may be actually the most powerful farmer in the game, and he's a 3-star, and he's obtainable through farming. So anyone can be able to get him. It's just a matter of getting runes that will make him a valid farmer. He can also do he can do Kabir Ruins very quickly as well, so he kind of becomes an all-in-one. He doesn't do Fame and Volcano so well because he has element neutrality, so they do a little too much damage to him. But he can be dual purpose. He can run your Kabir Ruins, or he could run your Chiraka Remains. Either way works. All right, so that's all the farmers I have right now. Now these farmers are all relatively easy to obtain. They're either farmable or granted to you, or at least their skill ups are farmable. So hopefully this helps you guys out, helps you get your farming team going so that you can start getting your 6-star monsters either faster or get them for the first time if you are still new to enough to the game that you don't have one. If you guys have any questions, comments, please post them below. Otherwise, otherwise, please like, share, and subscribe. Let people know about the channel, and I will see you guys next time in the corner.